tomorrow. All right. Another episode. Oh, I told you earlier that Ken Hamlin reached out to me.
What did he have to say? What did he say?
He wants to be on the podcast. Nothing. I told him, I think he was
out of guilt.
No. I mean, he admitted, he was like, dude, I had just shit come up. And I said, no worries. But he was like, his initial message to me, which I had already told you about, was kind of funny. And I didn't want him to feel bad because, it's like, I guess if you don't know who we are as an audience, like if you're new to the show, you'd be like, Corey's totally shitting on this dude. but what most people don't understand is like we just do it all in jest. Like there's no hard feelings, like literally no hard feelings at all. Like I understand that shit happens. I just like to make a joke out of it. So he responded and it was just like, I forget what he said, but it was something just like, wow, I ruined a dream. Oh, wow. Or something. Wow. And he put, wow, guys. Which then made me feel bad because my intention was not to make anyone feel bad. But
listen, I know you. And if it was like legitimate, I'd be like, okay, we need to tone it down. Or it should be obvious. I probably wouldn't be laughing.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like just my sarcastic humor, which I feel as though and that's the thing, is like, if you don't already know about us or have listened to or watched the show, and I feel like if you were to watch it on YouTube, you would have a better understanding just based upon like the visual representation that I was joking.
Yeah.
But if you're I did realize that if you're just listening to it and you have no context from the visual, you're probably like, what the fuck? He's going hard in the paint here. Now, and here's the reality. So this is why, like, in joking and jest and all that, is like, I understand that situations happen. Like I get that shit happens. And obviously I'm appreciative of the fact that like people have other things going on. Right. But even second to that is like, it's just in our nature to react that way. And it's not meant to be mean. It's not meant to be rude or over. It is meant to be sarcastic, but it's not meant to like push buttons or to be, a shithead. It's just what we do.
Yeah. Ben Camplin.
Ben Camplin. And also he's like a really fucking big, strong NFL player. So I'm not like intentionally trying to piss someone off that I could potentially see in person. That you see him at like an event and he's just like, I get fucking Terry Tate office tackled by, an NFL Pro Bowl safety. That would not be good. So yeah. So I told him I'd send him some dates and we'll definitely get him back on. And the good thing is like now we can have him tell his side of it and it'll be a fun conversation. So
yeah.
I'm actually very much looking forward to it, even more now than I did before, because now there's a rowdiness that is like, there's like a wake of attitude that exists, which will be really fun. But I mean, I know he's a stand-up dude. He's a nice guy. Cause now I can name his name, but the other guy I know that is also an ex-NFL player is the one that I said made an introduction. And he was just like, wait a second, he didn't come on the podcast. He's like, I'm gonna get in his ass. And I was like, you don't have to do that. It's all good. Like, it's all fun. It's all good. It's all good.
It would be hilarious if our episode was more like an episode of Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis, where we're just shitting on each other the whole time.
I wish I was quippy enough to do that. Although part of me always hoped that show was unscripted. It's so well scripted that it feels unscripted, which is what I like about it. I am not that smart as to write something like that to keep the satire going and keep the sarcasm going and then also keeping the flow. That's the best thing about In Between Two Ferns is like there's this awkward flow, but it works. When Zach Galifianakis says something and then you get a retort from whoever the guest is, that's equally as funny, if not more funny. And you're just like, God damn, that writing is amazing.
Yep.
Who did he have on the one time? Was it McConaughey? I think it was McConaughey. The one that I saw is fucking hysterical. And then was David Letterman on it? I saw Paul Rudd, David Letterman, Hugh Jackman, I think was on there. His was really funny. They're so hysterical. Dude, that show is incredible. Anyway, it's hot in this fucking room, but I'm also wearing snow pants right now. So I am sweating big and wool socks. I was playing outside with the dogs. I'm going to get Carlisle's energy out. So I was doing that before I hopped on and I didn't change. I'm like all in my warm weather gear, cold weather gear,
Yeah.
as if it were.
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of snow in Kentucky? Did it?
Oh yeah.
Was it bad? I didn't know how bad it was down there. It was pretty bad here.
We got over 10 inches.
Holy shit, it was way worse down there. I think we got like 6.
And I spent a better half of the evening last night, about an hour and a half or more, shoveling everybody's cars out of the giant pits of snow that they were in.
At the compound?
At the house, yeah, at the house, yeah.
God damn. That sucks. I mean, I had to shovel the driveway twice and the back patio, but that's pretty easy. Like that wasn't an arduous task. Although when I went to hockey the other night, it just started snowing when I got there. And by the time I got out, it was already like 5 inches on the ground. I walked out and I was like, what the fuck? And I'm so like, I don't watch the news or anything. So I didn't know it was going to, the only reason I knew that it snowed was one of the goalies and it was like just finished up and we were getting ready to play a third game. We played 2 really long games because more like an exhibition, like scrimmage. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, it was like 10:30 and everyone's like, you want to play another game? And I was like, fuck, I really do. That'd be fun. And then one of the goalies came out and he's like, by the way, weather's getting real bad outside. So you may want to rethink that. Sure shit. I walked outside and I was like, it took me forever to get home. And I was in my truck, but it's just like everybody was driving so slow. It took me what's usually like a 15-minute drive, took me almost 40 minutes, I think, to get home. So, I mean, it was like crawling. It was bad.
Dang.
Yeah, dang. It was brutal. So I wanted to talk about this just because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
And I had this like weird infatuation. Do you know who Gina Carano is?
Gina Carano. No, I don't.
You'll know who she is when you see her. But Gina Carano was an old UFC fighter. I think she's gorgeous, but she's built like a dude. So I'm really conflicted about it. I think she's got a beautiful face. Lauren thinks she looks like a man. But I don't know. I always had this like weird infatuation with her. She was in, hold on, let me see if I can share my screen real quick. And sure. You'll see her real quick. Hang tight. You probably notice her like just from the image. This is her in
I know her. Yeah.
Mandalorian. So she was in the Deadpool movies. She's the girl that had like the matchstick in her mouth the whole time.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she got kicked off of the Mandalorian for saying something on her Instagram, and it was along the lines of, I think it says up here, yeah, hating someone for their political views is like the persecution of Jews during the Holocaust. She's, I think, technically considered Republican, so she had spoken out in terms of like conservative point of views, and then Disney was just like, yeah, you done, and they kicked her off the fucking show for literally stating something that so many Democrats have made comparisons to the same thing over a long period of time with no repercussions. And I'm starting to see this more and more. Not that I want to get like super political or anything, but it's pretty concerning to me now, the hypocrisy that exists, because she was making what is a very true statement. And everybody knows it in terms of media and then like your ability to speak out. Because there was this girl, I saw this the other day. She was an Instagram influencer for makeup, and she had a contract with Sephora. Yeah. And Sephora, and she's Republican. Like she is very conservative, like very religious, and the whole thing. And she had been a partner of Sephora's from the influencer community for a while. So Sephora had a contract with her for like do these makeup videos and this whole thing. She's very popular. And Sephora just like told her to go pound sand because of something she said that wasn't bad at all. Like if you listen to what she said and it was like a tweet, was like not bad. I mean, it was just her sharing her political views in terms of like being a conservative, and fucking people just like came hard in the paint. And then finally Sephora couldn't handle the pressure of trying to support her in that regard. And they just fucking got rid of her. They're like, see you later. And they offered her a deal to basically like pay her out of her contract. And she told him to fuck off. And then she just came out and was like, fuck Sephora, basically. This is fucking bullshit, just because she has conservative viewpoints in terms of politics. And like, wow. It's weird. It's crazy times. I was thinking about this more and more because I'm seeing all these people just like disappear from all these platforms. And it's just like, it's one of those things. It's that like, it's this weird hypocrisy. And then you've got, of course, you've got the left and the Democratic Party who's taken pretty much all control of everything, not only in politics and government, but also in the media. It's like, dude, it's like You know what it's like? I'm making the comparison to Star Wars. It's like being a Jedi. Like
Dude,
Jedis are disappearing. They're all going to have to go into hiding.
let's see if I can get cancel cultured. Um,
Yeah, probably, dude. Wouldn't that be funny if
you know
like
what
it
the
got so
thing
bad that
is?
people were like, the hot ticket's got to go.
You know what the thing is, Corey? Democrats are like babies. They keep shitting on themselves, you know? And
Yeah,
and they want everybody else to wipe their ass.
pretty
You
much.
know?
It's just weird.
So
The whole thing to me is like it's just strange because, and I've said this before, and by the way, I feel comfortable in saying this because I don't consider myself a Republican or Democrat, because I make fun of both sides very much equally. What's hilarious to me is that like the left has always been the tolerant left, but has exercised such a huge amount of intolerance in the recent like 4 to 8 years, I would say,
yeah.
essentially like right as Obama ended and Trump began, it became very intolerant, right? And it's like that's
Yeah.
where you get this weird cancel culture, and you're starting to see people like Gina Carano, who's, for all intents and purposes, for everything we know, a wonderful human being, has never wronged anybody other than when she's in the cage and she's beating the brains out of some other human being.
Yeah.
But that's a contractual thing between the two of them, right? Like that was her job. She's never done anything wrong. And it's like, you're going to kick her off the show where she's a pretty popular character and she's a big name. You're going to kick her off of a show because she said something that, by the way, is pretty fucking true right now. Come on.
People are like the
Harsh memory.
blizzard. People are like the blizzard that hit me in Kentucky last night. A lot of snowflakes.
Tons of snowflakes. There's no doubt. It's so weird to me too, because like, I'm like, you just got like people who are so weirdly polarized, and I'm just like sitting in the middle eating my fucking wheat thins. Like, all this shit's gonna come to a head eventually, and I'm gonna be stuck in the fucking middle of it.
Yeah.
You got two just polarizing ends of this political spectrum, and it's like, oh, it's exhausting, and it's like I don't want to talk about it, but I just like Gina Carano so much, and I'm so disappointed the fact that like Disney was so quick just to be like, well, we can't handle the pressure of the lashback on something that is not only true, but also not that like, it's not demonizing at all. What her words are not like, she didn't say like, fuck the Jews, you know what I mean? The Holocaust wasn't real. Like, she didn't make some like weird, crazy, bold statements. She was just not only giving her opinion, but one of which a lot of people empathize with right now. And they were just like, see you later, Gator. You're out. It's like, what the
It's
fuck?
like, is it historically accurate? Yeah, I would
Yes.
say so.
Yes. And
Are we
it's,
going to discredit history because we feel uncomfortable talking about it?
and I think it was more in the comparison that she made than anything, because
Yeah.
she said hating someone for their political views, hating someone for their political views, meaning Democrats and progressives hating her for being a conservative. She compared to the persecution of Jews during the Holocaust,
Yeah.
meaning that you don't have a voice, meaning that you don't have rights, meaning
But
that
you know what?
who you are doesn't matter.
But all people saw was like, so you're saying Democrats are like Hitler?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's literally
That's what it is.
Solid.
That's as plain and simple as it is.
Yeah, not understanding the context of what she said, but just looking at the words and then finding ways to kind of pick everything apart. And people jumped on it so fast. Disney's like, oh yeah, she's no longer with us anymore. Bye-bye. Same thing with the Sephora lady, which I feel so bad for that lady, even though she was like a makeup person, but she wasn't real pretty, in my opinion. It's not she was ugly, but it's like, really, someone else could be doing makeup. Like you're kind of like, oh. But you feel bad for someone like that who's like built this career and has been a good person, has been a great person their whole life, has not wronged anyone as far as anyone else knows. And then you got like guys like Gavin Newsom, who run the state of California, who closed everything else but kept his vineyard open, said no one can go outside, but he decided to go to a restaurant without a mask on, where it's like, I'm so big that the rules don't apply to me. I'm so powerful, the rules don't apply to me. And no one fucking says a fucking goddamn thing about the hypocrisy there because he's a Democrat, but is quick to jump on someone for saying what is arguably very true words in this particular moment in time. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Anyway, R.I.P. Gina Carano. I still love you.
It's all about body positive anymore.
Oh yeah, don't even get me started with that. Oh my god. There's nothing worse than
Hey, I literally just, I pulled it. I was like, oh, look at this grenade. I
that's
just
my
pulled
grenade. I'm gonna toss this grenade.
it.
Don't even fucking get me started with that one. Because if I see one more fat bitch say it's okay to be fat, no, it's not. Here's the thing. That was wrong the way that I just said that. Let me provide some context. If you are going to argue a point, and I'm not saying big isn't beautiful, I like that. If you're comfortable in your own skin, that's great. But to apply falsehoods to health concerns that may exist for someone when you say like big is beautiful, live in your own body positivity, eat what you want, do what you want. You can do and you have the right to do what you want in your own life and whatever makes you happy. I think the falsities around suggesting that that is a healthy way to live is asinine. It's kind of that whole thing with like Lizzo. It's like the way that you live and the way that you nourish your body, or I would say malnourish your body to a sense, is so unhealthy and is going to lead to long-term health issues. You're a voice, you're a powerful voice and presence in the entertainment world, and you're suggesting to other people that this is a healthy way of living. That is just, it's no different than the other end of the spectrum, being a supermodel and saying, okay, a Diet Coke and a cigarette is how you should look like this. That is equally as unhealthy. Like that is just as bad as suggesting that you should be able to eat everything you want and live this healthy lifestyle. It's like, it's not healthy. There's repercussions on your body, not only physically and mentally, but like that is going to impact you and your ability to sustain a good life long term, just as it would with the fucking skinny, rail thin model who's Diet Coke and cigarette every day. It's such a negative impact.
I'm glad you added more context, Corey, because that was one where it kind of raised my eyes. I was like, oh shit. But anyways,
I was like, fat bitches. And that's it.
But I would agree in saying that I feel like it's a trifecta of things, right? Like it's the mind, body, and spirit. And you could mentally be in a good place being heavy, but that doesn't mean you are like physically or health wise.
Yeah. And that again, I want to preface in the fact that everyone should live their life the way that they want to live it. And if that's what you want to do and that's the way you want to live your life, you have every right to do that. But to suggest this is a healthy lifestyle and way to live, and for people who are impressionable, people who listen to you and look up to you, who may involve themselves in the same style of life in the terms of the way that they treat their body and the way that they treat food and the way that they treat other outlets for stress and so on and so forth, is not a healthy way to live. It's like suggesting that like, hey, cocaine's great for you. You know, cocaine works for me. Everybody should do cocaine. It's like, no, we know that there's repercussions doing that. No one's life ever got better doing cocaine. So it's the same kind of thing where it's just like, to suggest that in such a powerful platform is so misleading. And I'm tired of fucking seeing it and hearing it. And I'm tired of people making excuses for the way that they are health wise by connecting themselves to people who live that lifestyle. It's, to me, it's like, it's sad. And the long-term repercussions on your health are even more concerning, because if that's the way you're treating your body in your 20s and 30s, think about the long-term repercussions when you're in your 50s and 60s. You're going to have you're going to have heart problems. You could potentially be diabetic at that particular point in time. You could have blood pressure issues. There's all kinds of exacerbating things that can happen over a period of time because of the way you're treating yourself at a young age. Your body may be able to handle it now, but the long-term effects could be really damning. And no one ever talks about that. They're like body positivity. And it's like, you see a 350-pound girl and you're like, dude, you're going to go off the rails, and there's going to be some serious consequence to the way that you're treating yourself. And I hate the fact that people are like, it's okay. And it's like, but it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not, if you want to die when you're 60 years old, I guess it's okay. But it's like, if you want to live beyond that and you want to live a happy, healthy life, I just don't agree with that's the approach to do it. I think everything is a balance, right? Like that's how I try to live. I love going to the gym and I love working out because I love the way that it makes me feel, but I don't deprive myself of anything either. I have cinnamon roll Fridays, for Christ's sake. I will go and I drink bourbon literally every fucking day. I will fuel my body with things that aren't exactly healthy for me, but I will make sure that I do the best that I can to create a balance. That's a system that I have worked within for a long period of time. And that's what helps me keep balanced. There's a lot of people just like go off the rails, either one end of the spectrum or the other. And it's like, man, it's kind of frightful when you see it. I'm just like, God damn, man, this is like what you're projecting out to the rest of the world. That's freaky. Yeah. As you eat, dude, they look like wheat thins. I have like a giant box of wheat thins downstairs. It just looks so appetizing. They're the
As
ranch ones.
Chris
They're
grabs a Cheez-It Grooves.
Yeah, but you've lost weight unintentionally.
I know.
I mean, I will say you look good in terms of that, but I'm sure you don't feel as great, but it's a whole nother topic. Anyway, let's get off the fucking pork train. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Thank God our fucking audience of females is only about 8%. So if there's attrition, it's not hugely impactful. Just stay healthy out there. You know, that's my only words of wisdom. I wanted to move on to this topic. So did you see that there's a Britney Spears documentary that was released on Hulu about like the craziness of her life? So her dad has like power of attorney over her. There's something else that it's called, but he essentially owns her. So like everything that Britney Spears makes in terms of money, because she is not fit to take care of herself, her dad essentially gets all of it. He is her power of attorney. He controls her life. So there's like this whole movement called like Free Britney, which I think is what the documentary is called. So I posted on Instagram like numerous amounts of times because I follow her because I think she's fucking psycho. I think she's crazy as shit. But you got to see this. I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Yeah.
I hope like we don't get any sort of like, since this is like posted on YouTube.
Okay, so I heard that a lot of you guys have been writing in and you want to know what my main goals are for 2021. Number 1 is to meditate more. Number 2 is to take a cooking class. Number 3 is to do a Pilates class and actually follow through with the class. And number 4 is I've got to try this ice cream diet.
Huh.
What? Dude, there's ones where she's just like randomly dancing for no reason and she talks like a little kid. She talks like a toddler. So everybody believes that when she does these, they're just giant cries for help. It's like her way of like calling out to her fan base, like free me from my dad's tyranny. It's wild. I haven't seen the documentary yet, but I heard it's crazy because, you know, she spent her whole life under the microscope of not only millions upon millions of people, but paparazzi. You think about to the 2000s. Remember when she like shaved her head and just went fucking batshit crazy and she did all that. So that's around, I think that's the time of which she was unfit to take care of herself. And her dad essentially got rights from the court system to essentially be her legal guardian. And now she's trying to reverse that.
How was I supposed to know that I'd be batshit crazy?
Show me. They were talking about like the Justin Timberlake stuff. And dude, you see like the paparazzi like grill her about just very intimate things in her life to where you could see like, yeah, I totally understand.
It would chip me down.
Oh my God, dude. And that's what happened to her. I mean, she spent all of her life in the spotlight. I mean, ever since she's been like 16 years old. She was young.
She was like a kid singer too, right? With JT and all that.
Yeah, she was on Disney. Yeah, with Justin Timberlake. Yeah, so I mean, she's been like a child star. The whole thing obviously blew up in her early teens, so 16 years old, and that's when that first hit came out, and just like her life just began to spiral. And now her dad has full control of everything. Her money that comes in. That's why she doesn't do any of those Vegas shows anymore. Because she had the residency in Vegas and was killing it. I mean, making a ton. She made more money there because she was performing every night, essentially like 5 out of 7 nights a week.
Yeah.
She was performing and just made an insane amount of money, but her dad is the one that controls it all. Now, I did hear something where like the banks have finally stepped in and gained some control to make sure that he couldn't like take the money and do whatever he wanted with. So like there is like some sort of positive financial impact the banking system is kind of navigating for.
Yeah.
But he still controls like her entire life, her entire being. And she basically is like, I'm not going to perform unless I'm outside my dad's control. Could you imagine being her age? So let's just say hypothetically, like right now, you're almost 35. You'll be 35 in 3 days.
Yeah.
So 35 years old, and just imagine dad being the one that makes all your decisions for you.
Knowing him, no.
Yeah. Well, just even imagine, I mean, mom, you're 35 years old, right? Like you're not going to have a parent making decisions for you. Everything that you do, anytime you perform, any move that you make, you aren't going, like, imagine having a parent that has to allow you to do everything that you cannot do under your own free will.
I bought you a Amish shed so that you can do your work in.
Okay. You want to refinish some furniture with me? And you were like, not today. Tough shit.
Well, I was like, well, Dad, it doesn't have electricity running to it, or like there's no desk that I could put in this Amish shed that you bought me through the money I've earned. What am I supposed to do with it? Well, fine, son, if you don't want it, I'll keep it and turn it into something, okay? And he'll just flip it on it, and then but it was a purchase for himself. That's what he would do.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. He wouldn't do that, but
That would be funny. Yeah, it's wild. So I think I'm gonna watch I don't know if I'm gonna watch the documentary tonight, but I'm probably gonna watch it soon just because I want to see, like, I only know of things that I've heard, just like, well, one, I follow her on Instagram, so I get to see the craziness every day. But there's like another side of the story. And I already knew that her dad basically controlled her life. I knew it was court appointed, but it really breaks down the severity of not only how that impacts her now, but how it got to that point. And I'm like, God, I gotta watch this, man. And it's fucking Britney Spears. Like, come on. We're talking about Britney Spears. So there's way crazier things going on in the world right now, but I am just intensely intrigued by this documentary, and I can't wait to watch it because she is. Yeah. I would say for anybody listening to this, if you've not been to Britney Spears' Instagram, just take a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, and just scroll through like the past 6 months and just play videos.
Now, if I was Britney, I would find some creative ways of making income outside of my father, potentially. Maybe like opening up an
OnlyFans
salon or a store of something, and like sell like Britney Spears shears or like Britney Spears tears that you can like sell on eBay. Like you just constantly cry and sell vials of your tears, something like that, just to like play off of
her own Venmo account so people can Venmo her shit.
That's true. You know,
like, here's a pair of Britney Spears panties that she'd sell for $100,000, and boom, that's your money into your own account. But see, I don't know what kind of control and access he has to things like that. It's like, unless it's a cash out, even Venmo would go to a banking account, which he would control.
Yeah.
You want a 6-pack like me? Buy my Britney Spears beers.
Do you think that she looks decent for her age?
She looks worn out.
She looks weathered, doesn't she? I think she could look good. I think that life has gotten to her.
Yeah,
I think it's worn her down. But dude, remember when she was like 16? I think I was like 12, maybe 16, maybe 11. I remember that music video came out. I think that's the first boner I ever sprouted, was watching that schoolgirl outfit. Which it's okay to say now because she was actually older than me at the time. It sounds creepy when I say, remember when she was 16? But I remember I was only like 11. So it's okay for me to say it.
Yeah, she could totally do a mold of her butt and call it Britney Spears rears. Like, there's so many things she could do.
She could sell used panties and call it Britney Spears smears.
Yeah, there's so many things she could do, man.
Yeah, she could. Yeah, she really could. I still don't know how she's going to make money off of it, but if it makes
her dad's going to be like, I love the ideas, boys. Keep sending them.
Yeah, and all of a sudden there's like an influx of multi-millions of dollars that like goes through her fucking Venmo account into her bank account, and her dad's like, what is she doing out there? I thought she stopped performing. She's just selling used underwear and socks. Which is weird because people do that now. I was listening to a lady on a podcast who had made over $140,000 selling used panties.
Whoa.
Yeah, and she got into this weird niche, which is actually pretty fucking clever, because like one guy asked her for this, and I never even thought about this, but this is if you're a female, listen, here's the thing. If you're a female right now, sell pictures of your feet, sell your panties, and put things in those panties, dirty them up, sell your socks, and you'll make a fucking killing. I'm telling you, the world is your oyster, females. Guys can't get away with doing this, but females can. So this guy, and this is actually pretty genius. I guess she was selling this guy her panties. Like, she'd only put them on one time, put them in a plastic bag, ship them to him, and he would pay her like $100.
Whoa.
Think about that. You're talking about like $5 pair of panties. This dude's paying $100, and she's shipping these bad boys to him on the regular, which she was doing for a lot of people. He sent her a mask, like a COVID-19 mask, and said, hey, do me a favor, put this on your vaggie and then send it back to me, so he could wear it and then always be sniffing her vaggie.
Wow.
And she sold it for like hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
I mean, would you do it?
I mean, if someone wants to smell my dickie, I guess.
I'd do it in a heartbeat. Lauren, we were listening. I think Lauren was listening to it with me. And she was at least listening to one that I was listening to about like girls taking pictures of their feet. And like Lauren's like, I would do that. And I was like, I'd let you. She's like, would you let me do that? And I was like, fuck yeah. If you got like 40, $50 a picture, fuck yeah. I was like, put as many out there as you can. Start that OnlyFans account. Let's make some fucking money. I don't have that advantage. I can't do that. But if you're a girl, you can get away with doing it for sure.
I'd grow an avocado out of my dick hole.
Gross.
With an avocado seed.
Yeah, that would be weird, wouldn't it? Is it a seed though? Isn't it a pit technically?
Yeah, it wouldn't fit really well, but
seed, I don't know. I don't know what the difference between a pit and a seed is, or if there's a difference at all. They may be synonymous with one another. But either way, talk about a lucrative business to be in.
Yeah, there's got to be ways to do that.
I wish there was ways for guys that made sense. Like, I don't know what I could do. You know what I mean? Like, I know there was a guy that I listened to on another podcast named Josh Potter who was like selling pictures of, well, he was doing his feet too.
Yeah. He's like super furry.
Yeah. And then had like the hairy shoulders and was like sending like videos and stuff and said he made like a decent amount of money doing it. It's like, yeah, maybe you could do something like that. But like what on me would be intriguing enough for like people to pay for? Not really anything. Maybe like my long hair. But like even then I would argue like what's the point of that? You know what I mean?
Our sperm is the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, but there's got to be some legal issues to that. Like I think isn't that like some black market shit? I don't think you can just be slinging sperm through the US Postal Service.
What about our anus musk?
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, it would be like the same thing as like used underwear, right?
Yeah.
Like don't shower for a few days and just like drop that thing in the UPS drop box and send it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like what girl and what it does is it proves how nasty guys are in terms of like these weird fantasies. Because like, I'm not saying girls don't have some of these weird fetish type things, but they're certainly not as outward about them. Like now you're starting to uncover these weird obsessions guys have with like feet and used panties and that whole thing. Like these just things that like just get them fucking off. And you're like, just really? Like, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to be that excited about those things.
Yeah.
Part of me is a little jealous because, you know, I wish I had something that was that exciting where I was like, can't wait till this shows up in the mail today. I showed tracking today and I'm getting that used pair of panties. I'm totally stoked for it. I don't have anything like that.
Nah, I don't either.
Anyway, we got a review to do. And I will say this, and I know this to be somewhat true, is that after we publish this review, we'd be one of the first to publish a review on this cigar. I think there's like 2 other people who have published this review, and they're not like massive outlets by any stretch of the imagination. So, you know, this is going to be our take on a new cigar that actually came out this year. So we're only 2 months in, not even a full 2 months into 2021. And what am I talking about, Chris? What cigar am I talking about? Care to take a guess?
Yes, I'll say it. It is the Alma Fuerte Natural Sixto 2 by Plasencia.
Boom. Now, I will say this. This is the obvious statement I'm going to make about this cigar.
It's too long of a name.
Well, one, it is definitely fucking too long of a name. That is for sure. But in addition to being too long of a name, of course, this cigar being named the Alma Fuerte is going to be very strongly compared to the original Alma Fuerte that came out, which is like a massive favorite in the industry despite its hefty price.
Maduro.
Right. So the difference being is, you know, we're going to talk about this cigar in 2 fashions. One, how is it on its own for a natural cigar, for this new iteration that Plasencia put out? How is the cigar? And then also, how does it compare to its older brother?
That's true. That's very fair. We have to, right?
You have to make the comparison. It's a similar name, exact same vitola. You have to make the comparison. So before we actually get into the components of the cigar, Chris, can you let everybody know how we break these bad boys down?
Sure, bro. Each cigar review is broken down into 3 main categories: construction, burn, and flavor. We then throw in a little extra kicker to see if the cigar is worth the price for a possible bonus or deduction. And then finally, we average out our individual scores and recommendation, giving you guys how we feel about the cigar.
Boom. Nailed it. This is again a release in 2021. They announced this cigar in 2020, but I believe it really didn't actually hit shelves until January. So I'm going to call it a 2021 release. It is like pretty much, I almost think every single Plasencia branded cigar is a Nicaraguan Puro. This is in the 6x60 Gordo. What I will say about this cigar, which is something that will be visually represented, is that this is a hexagon vitola. So Plasencia decided, like the previous Alma Fuerte, to do this hexagon shape, create some uniqueness. But I will talk a little bit more about the impacts of rolling and creating a cigar in such a shape and what kind of impacts that can have on the cigar itself. This does come in at a hefty $20 price point, which is right in line with the original Alma Fuerte. So they wanted to keep some consistency there. So the big question is how good was the cigar? So let's break it down. Chris, what did you think about the construction of this cigar?
Brother, I thought the construction is cool as shit. Oh my God, there's a dog. But that said, the hexagon shape is like such an iconic cigar shape, right? And this is the Alma Fuerte that has like a dark green wrapper, natural color to it, which more looks like, I don't know, maybe like a Colorado kind of.
It is technically Colorado, so it's got that reddish hue to it for sure.
Yeah. But it's cool as shit looking. Like when you look at it, it's like, yeah, it's too big of a tola for my face. Yeah, sure, I might cut the edge of my mouth with the sharp corners and the hexagon shape, but it's a dope-ass looking cigar, man. And it's so well constructed and so well packed. Kind of an oily sheen to the natural wrapper, but visually, it's completely comparable to the Alma Fuerte Maduro.
Yeah, one of the things that I will say about this cigar, that I would say about all Plasencia cigars, is I've never had one that lacked a certain level of craftsmanship. They're all so beautifully made. And this one is as well. And that hexagon shape cannot be one that's easy to pull off, right? You have box presses, and now you have a company doing a hexagon press, which is totally unique and different. And I understand the reasons behind why you want to create that uniqueness. So it does stand out on the shelves. There's no doubt. I agree with you in terms of like, oh, it's 6x60. Blah. But it is intriguing nonetheless in terms of its visual appeal. I like the reddish hue on the Colorado wrapper. It looks really good. I'm always kind of a sucker for that light, or not even light tan, that medium kind of tan color with just that slight reddish hue. I like that wrapper type stands out to me a lot on shelves.
Yeah.
And it's just really like a smooth satin sheen. Not a lot of protruding veins, just really, really fucking nicely made. And cap structure for Plasencias are absolutely the best.
Yeah.
It's like so methodically done. The only knock that I really have on construction has nothing to do with construction at all. It's just like, dude, reduce the fucking bands on the goddamn fucking cigar itself. A 6x60 should not be covered up 50% of the cigar. Like, come on. Now I get that you are creating the similarity to the original Alma Fuerte because that's the way that cigar is banded. But to me, it's just kind of obnoxious. Even though I don't mind the design of it, it's just kind of annoying that it's like, I hate peeling more than one. I'll be honest with you. I don't like foot bands. That's just my thing. I just don't like them. And if you've got 3 on a cigar, change it. That's all I'm saying. But other than that, I thought construction quality was fucking on point. So that leads us to burn. Chris, what do you think about burn the cigar?
You know what? I've always had mixed results with Plasencia's real big fat vitolas. Even the Alma Fuerte Maduro, I've had sometimes burn issues. Not to say it's not a bad cigar, badly constructed. It's just, I mean, it's a 6x60 and it's in a hexagonal shape, which, you know, does that do anything to the burn? I don't know. But I've always had inconsistencies with the burn experience overall. Has it been shitty? No. But there always sometimes comes up the occasional challenges like outages or whatever. Now, that said, this is not a Maduro, this is a natural, which naturally, and no play on words there, but it's going to likely have less oils than you would typically get from Maduro, right? So it's going to burn a little faster, etc. Now, what I'll say is that I was still expecting burn issues with this one, but I was pleasantly surprised that I didn't. In fact, it was a very consistent burn, very little runnage, even on the odd shape that it is. Even being a Colorado wrapper, it just it always produced real thick ash the whole way through, and it held strong. Like it took a shit ton of effort to get this bitch to ash. And it was like a pretty dang solid draw too. Like it was, it took like 2 good puffs, maybe 3, to really get a good smoke production out of it. But I never really had an outage or anything like that. I think I did 1 touch up, which touching up is touching up. It was not to fix a run or anything. It was just touching up. But I didn't have any issues, which is great because, like I said, occasionally with these big Vitolas, especially with Plasencia, which I've had mixed burn experiences on, especially with the Alma Fuerte Maduro, I was like, it's a 50-50. I'm either going to have them or I'm not, really.
Right.
And I was thankful I didn't. I thought the burn was great.
Yeah. Interesting that you say that. I'll articulate a little bit beyond what you had said in terms of inconsistency around burn. But before I do so, good draw, excellent smoke production. I did have those inconsistencies in a burn, and I want to add an element of science in this, if I could, please.
Sure.
Here's my thoughts, right? And I was thinking about this when I was smoking, and I do actually have pictures to depict this. Take a look at a hexagon. This is what I got in the cigar, and what I think the reason I got this in the cigar and the way that it burned from an inconsistency perspective, and I don't want to say canoeing or I don't want to say run, I'm just saying inconsistent, is that you have these impact points right here on the corners, right? Where you have a lot of, you're essentially going to have wrappers that are, or the wrappers conjoining at this particular point, at each one of these points. So what I kept having was long or faster runs at this point in the hexagon and slower burns at these impact points. So I literally had, if you look at the hexagon shape, where it would burn faster throughout this, but slower at these impact points. I literally have a picture to depict this. It looks like teeth because it would burn in these flat spots. It would burn faster through this tobacco than it would at the points, at the edges. So I thought that was interesting from a design perspective, or this Vitola, that because you have that wrapper type that's conjoining at that point where it's flat, it burns a lot quicker, because at that conjoining point, it seemed to burn a lot slower. To me, there's got to be an element of science around that. And I had that literally on every single point in the cigar. I literally have a picture to show it. It's kind of crazy. The weird thing is, though, is that it didn't really affect too much of like an inconsistency that caused like relights or anything like that. It's just like certain points of the cigar just seem to be burning faster, but it's almost like it all kind of caught up together. It looked like a crown. So It literally looked like a king's crown as it was burning down. Everything kind of came to a point at those edges, which I thought it was unique looking at it. But then when I kind of look at it a little bit further, I go, well, it kind of makes sense at the same time too. So I did have some inconsistencies in the burn. I didn't have a straight burn line all the way down. And I think it's because of the way that shape of the Vitola is.
That's some sciencey shit, bro.
It's just something that I noticed that I needed to point out. And I think I'm onto something there, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's very possible.
So what did you think about the flavor? So let's talk about the cigar as it stands alone on itself, and let's talk about it in comparison to the original Alma Fuerte.
Sure. Well, like you, with an uneven burn on the corners, I tasted bitterness at the points and woodiness in the middle. I'm joking. I know I didn't do that. But, there is definitely a comparable flavor with the fillers. There's a certain amount of butteriness I think I got out of the natural wrapper that I didn't get with the Maduro. But I get strong woody and bitter notes throughout. At times, I think also just by nature of Plasencia and the Alma Fuerte cigar, aromatically, it's very pleasing. And it's very pleasing on this one. It is on the as it is on the Maduro. What's great is that as you kind of go through the cigar, I did smooth out quite a bit, and it was sweet at times, which was nice change up. I feel like there was still that same complexity that you get with the Alma Fuerte, but there is no doubt in my mind, having smoked the original Alma Fuerte Maduro and then trying the natural, there is a distinct difference just purely based on the wrapper, in my opinion, that changes up that flavor profile. And maybe it's more woodiness or something. I'm not quite sure. I'd have to probably smoke them back to back to like really dive into the differences. But there's no doubt in my mind there is a difference, and I would say a noticeable difference. The only thing about the flavor that I would say is, do I like it better than the Maduro? And I would have to confidently say no. I think I like the Maduro more. Not to say this isn't a good cigar, but I think I just enjoy the Maduro more. But it's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think sometimes when you make subtle changes, naturally there's going to be differences. You'd expect it, right?
Right.
But it wasn't, for me, it was not a improvement per se. It's just,
Different.
I just preferred the Maduro over this one.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with you. And in terms of like expressed flavors, I thought it was very creamy, nutty. It's very earthy. It did have that bitter element to it. It did have the woodiness to it, which I enjoy. And I think all those characteristics were ones that I enjoyed in the original. It is definitely different based upon the wrapper type, but you do get a lot of the same flavors, like noticeable flavors that you get in the original Alma Fuerte. But that wrapper type certainly changes the dynamic of the cigar. I love the way Lily's casting a shadow on my wall. It's creepy. Here's what I'll say about it. So I thought the cigar was good on its own.
Yeah.
Everything I struggle with in terms of Plasencia as a whole is the price point. It's very elevated, right? It's their $20 is your point of entry. And sometimes it's tough for me to swallow that. And any cigar, it's difficult for me to swallow that in some Plasencia cigars. Not all of them, but even the Alma Fuerte, I'm not really going out of my way to spring, $20 to smoke that cigar. I usually try to find it on discount. It's not that I don't like the cigar. I'm just not. There's just so much out there at lesser price points that I think would be as good of a cigar. So in comparison to the cigar overall, in comparison to the original Alma Fuerte, I thought it was less than. I didn't think it had the same complexity. I thought there was some very similar flavor characteristics in this one, but I thought they weren't as dynamic. I thought it was a little bit more muted. I don't think that it has that same created balance with this new wrapper type. I just think, and not that I want to say the blend is wrong, it's just less than. It's just not as good. It's not as significant. To me, it's like the Peyton Manning and the Eli Manning. Eli Manning's the younger brother, and guess what? He's not a good of an NFL player. Peyton Manning he's always going to live in the shadows of Peyton. Eli is. So that's kind of what I feel about this Plasencia cigar. I think it's just going to always forever live in the shadows of the original Alma Fuerte. And again, because we're talking about that $20 price point, makes it even more difficult for me to suggest that this is a really good cigar. I liked it. I didn't love it. I definitely don't love it for $20. And I don't like 6x60s. This is a cigar, and I'm sure created for this Vitola as the original Alma Fuerte was, and its most popular Vitola at that. I'm sure this is like, hey, we blended this cigar to be in this Vitola, and maybe it doesn't smoke better than anything else. It's just too much for me. 6x60, man. It's not only do I not have the time for it, but I just don't think it created the balance that I wanted in the cigar. I was excited to smoke this because I do like Plasencia cigars, and I'm a huge fan, always will be a huge fan. I just expected a little bit more. It was just a little bit less than what I desired. And I thought, and honestly, I was excited about a natural wrapper type. I was excited about a variance in this. And I don't want to say I was let down. I was just kind of like, meh, it was okay. I just didn't really think that it was, maybe with some of the hype that was created in this really big 2021 release, that it was going to be a little bit more than what it was. It kind of lacked a lot that I hoped and desired it would be.
Yeah.
Personally.
I can totally see that. Yeah, for sure.
So I think I've already kind of articulated what I thought in terms of where it falls in line in terms of price point. Chris, what did you think? It's $20 price of entry. certain tax laws in certain states are going to elevate it beyond that. Some places, I'm sure long-term you'll be able to find it a little bit lower, but let's just say as a healthy average, $20. Do you think it's worth the price of admission?
No. It's just too steep. It's if Eli Manning, who's less superior than his brother, goes, I want to be paid more than my brother.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're not as good.
Yeah. Yeah. I want the $100 million contract. Like, you haven't earned it.
Everybody wants Peyton.
Right.
Not everybody wants you, Eli.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's a great analogy. That's kind of how I feel about this cigar, to be honest with you. I was excited to smoke it, got my hands on it, smoked it, probably won't smoke it again for a while. I'll be honest. It's just not, it just didn't hit for me, man. And you know what? I've been smoking, I've been trying to smoke, like going back into the archives and just smoking some old school shit here recently. Like I've been really into Caldwell recently. Don't knock me for that. But there's like even certain Caldwell cigars that I've smoked where it's like, price point $10, maybe sometimes elevated to 12. And I smoke those cigars and I go, holy shit, man, there's just some fucking crazy, funky, good flavors in some of these cigars that I've just really been digging lately. And so even making that comparison, I go, okay, well, now we're talking something that's far less than $20 and I'm getting far more enjoyment out of. It's like, is this a cigar that I'm really going to be reaching for on a continual basis? Probably not. Once they're restocked on shelves, it's one that I'll probably glance over. I'll smoke it again. I just don't know how excited I am going to be to smoke it.
Yeah, I could see that.
I will definitely reach for an original Alma Fuerte before I reach for this one again. I did smoke the Alma del Campo yesterday. And that was a really good cigar. Weirdly enough, it burnt so fast. It's a large Vitola. I think it even may be a 6x60, the one that I smoked. And I swear to God, I finished it in under an hour. I was like, why is this thing smoking so fast? It was wild. But that's my whole point, though. Like, I'm a huge Plasencia fan. The Cosecha 146, the Alma del Fuego, like so many good cigars. I would honestly rank this one at like the lower end. I think it's probably like categorically is going to be maybe I think like fourth or fifth favorite Plasencia cigar at this point.
Yeah, that's sad.
Especially for the price.
It's not sad. It's just,
I was a little let down, but it's all, some are hits, some are miss. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people in the market that really love the natural wrapper type and the balance that it creates for them. I will say there's a few points in the cigar where there was some flashes of like really fucking good complex flavors, but as quickly as they hit is as quickly as they disappeared. And you go, why didn't I get more of that? Why didn't I get more of that in the second third and the last third? Like this one or two draws just really expresses some great flavors. And then you get that sense of balance and it's really dynamic in that particular moment. And then it's like a fleeting thing. And then it's gone, it disappears. And you go, well, if there was more elements of that interlaced in the cigar, I would probably be a lot more excited about it. But there just wasn't. It was just very kind of dull and numb through most of it. And it just, if you love the filler types of this cigar and you love what it represents, just smoke the Alma Fuerte, the original one, because it's better.
For sure.
That's where I'm at. So overall, Chris, what did you score this cigar?
Great construction, very cool looking. I had a great burn experience, which I thought was going to be hit or miss, but it was a hit. I like the flavor. It's not as good as the Alma Fuerte Maduro, but price point is way too high for what it is. But it still comes out for a 90.7 for me, which is highly recommended.
A 90.7? I didn't think that you would breach 90. I'm a little shocked. I had, honestly, what did you say yours was? A 90.7. So I will say this, on my particular cigar, I had an excellent construction, which is something that is par for the course for Plasencia, one of the best ever constructed cigar ever. The inconsistencies from the burn and what I got in those little dips that kind of created the crown, I did a 1-point deduction on that just because of the inconsistencies overall. It kind of caused things, even though it's self-corrected, it really did kind of cause things to get a little wonky. So would you know what kind of impact they can have from a flavor perspective if it's not burning evenly with the filler? So 1-point deduction on that. I thought the flavors were okay given what the cigar was. So I gave it a 24.5, and I give it a -1% for being a incredibly elevated price point, which we expected in this cigar to be in alignment with the other one. Said it was going to be $20. I just don't think it's worth it. That gave me a score of an 88.2, which gives us an average of an 89.4, which will round down to an 89, which would put this at a decent smoke to try.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
I think it's fair, and quite honestly, I thought you'd be a little less, but
I like the flavor. But the Alma Fuerte, I think I gave like a 92 or 93 or something like that.
That was definitely one that is
Duro, yeah.
and it's still good. I smoke that fucking cigar all the time.
Yeah.
And with the Alma del Fuego, I love that cigar.
Yeah.
They're just both just lights out good. And the Cosecha 146 is the sleeper in my opinion. That's like the one that's like the hidden gem. I just thought this one was kind of like, it just, they all can't be fucking bangers. They all can't hit the same way. And I think this may be the one where Plasencia puts it out and it just doesn't hit the same as the other ones. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. You got to keep trying. And they have over 100 years of experience in the industry. So what the fuck do I know? And I'm sure these things are going to fly off the shelf as they already have, right? It's kind of they were limited. I don't want to say it was a limited release, but it kind of was like, they're as quick as they came on the shelves as quickly as they left. There's a lot of people who haven't even got their hands on this cigar yet, and I'm sure the market will be flooded with them here shortly. But like a first round went out to a lot of shops around the country. People got their hands on them. That's why, when I said earlier on we'd be one of the first to review this, is probably because a lot of people just haven't got their hands on them yet. We were lucky enough to get 2 of them. So I'm curious to see what other people in the industry say about this cigar, especially some of the more prominent reviewers out there. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was okay. It's definitely not my favorite cigar to start off this year, but decent nonetheless.
For sure. I'm with you.
All right, let's wrap this up. We have, I put out a new review. The Davidoff Anniversario is out. You can find that on the website now, www.hotticketweekly.com. I think I'm going to throw 2 more up next week. I've got like a backlog of, I don't know how many, but it's quite a lot. So there'll be more reviews coming on the site. A couple that I've smoked that are just like shockingly good. So I'm just going to come out and say it now. So look out for those. Like even for me, I was like, what? Reviews will be on the site. Look out for those next week. This one will be posted by the time you hear this. It'll already be up on the website. So you can check out the written part of it. And of course you can listen to the podcast on the website too.
Hell yeah.
In other news, I saw that Crown Heads is re-releasing 2021, the La Cream Bellicosos.
I know.
Which I'm like, holy shit. Oh, I'm so fucking stoked. That is like one of my all-time favorite cigars. It's probably like if I had to pick not a favorite cigar in terms of flavor, even though I love that cigar to death. But if I just picked a cigar that's like one of my favorites to smoke and look at, it would be that cigar. Like it is one of my favorites to smoke because it's always just so enjoyable. It just like, I fucking fall in love with that cigar every time I smoke it. So the 2021 release of the La Cream Bellicoso will be out, made by yours truly, Crown Heads, actually blended and produced by EP Korea. So what else? My cigar pack. This new month's pack's coming out. I should receive the order soon. So I don't know what's in it. I will articulate to everybody on next week's episode what's actually in this month's pack. I will say this. I've still had people hit me up about the Donger release. Weirdly enough, as we've made our way 2 months post Donger release, they're all gone. There's no more left. There was like a couple packs that Alex was holding for us. And he's like, what do you want me to do with these? Do you want me to ship them to you? And I said, no. Sell them. And they sold instantly. So you put them back on the website and they're gone. So everything as far as the original Donga release is gone. You can't get your hands on it anymore. I'm sorry. I apologize. Who knows if we'll re-release it? Maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
Maybe this next Donga will be bigger and better.
Bigger and better Donger. Slobbery Donger. But yeah, it's officially gone, but you can check out my cigar pack. Every month's pack, I swear, just gets better and better. So check them out, www.mycigarpack.com. Our promo code is back, 10% off your first order, or $10 off your first order, hot 10 at checkout. It's the best monthly subscription, in my opinion, that you can get, which is why we support them. And it's why they support us. All the other ones can go fuck off. Just kidding. That's a little rude. Actually, there are some other good ones out there, but I'm not going to name vibes.
No
All right.
favoritism.
No favoritism. What else? Anything else we're missing? I think that's about it. I think that covers it.
That's it.
All right.
You nailed it.
Nailed it. I'm going to go eat some food. I'm
Same.
hungry. All right. Enjoy your Triscuits.
All right. I love you.
Love you too. Later, Gator. Thanks everybody for listening. This will conclude episode 185. We'll be back at you next week with episode 186. See you, everyone.
Bye.